My breakfast is consisted of Nutri-Grain bars and cans of Coke. It's a convention.
You had breakfast?
It was more or less a brunch
I had a croissant.
that I stayed for.
I had a croissant.
We have a Contigo family up here
What's
now.
that now?
Gabe, where's your Contigo? I'm ashamed.
Plastic
Guys,
water
hey,
bottle.
Guys,
Yes,
guys,
we're
guys,
gonna
guys,
use
guys.
Contigos.
Your Contigo.
On the count of three,
It's in
can I
my
get the
suitcase.
audience to yell what they actually have in their hands there? 1, 2, 3.
I heard a
You're being
Contigo.
difficult.
Tim said Contigo, of course.
Of
Yes.
course. I'm picking out a thermos for you. So is Contigo.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
So is Velcro.
It's,
Did you know
it's
that?
It means with
And
you.
Which I love. I think it's really cool. But yeah, Velcro is actually called, hook and loop
So
fasteners.
it's Kleenex.
So, great panel, everyone.
I asked
Scotch
Dad what
tape.
Velcro was about 2 weeks ago because I was so curious, and he explained to me in very, very deep fashion how the Velcro was created. I was very interested
The birds.
because they were about the birds.
The birds and the dog, yeah. I know the
Is
story
that me?
too.
Great.
Anyways, you know.
It's very, a guy found birds on his dog and he examined them under a microscope, saw little hooks, and he was like,
Oh, I could make money off this.
the American way.
Is Michael's mic working?
Bring it
Amazing
clo-
as we copy Mother Nature, and it's pretty amazing.
Bring it.
Yes.
I'm on.
There
Oh,
we
yes, I am on. Thank
And
you.
every time we do, it's amazing how much more advanced nature is. I think one thing that blew my mind initially is when I found out that the flagellum of a microscopic single-celled organism is essentially an electric motor. Seriously, it works the same way. It's a little tiny iron filament,
So-
and they have a magnetic charge which is polarized back and forth, and that's what gets it. They have
Well, now think what you just said. I was outside of the pool looking up, and there's
This is
Glad we're
great so
staying on
far.
topic.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the Entering Entertainment
No, dig this.
101
plane after
panel.
plane after
Because
plane.
we all know what you're talking
Is this
about.
on? Is
So
this on?
anyway, welcome to Saturday Night
okay,
Songs
okay.
Take 2.
This is why we want to draft
I
here.
didn't finish my story. So there's a plane going overhead, and I said, that's a marvelous piece of technology. And then I'm looking over the pool, and I see this thing flying by. And what is it? It's a dragonfly with multiple wings. He can stop, he can start, he can hover. It's just an incredible piece of technology that nature has that we can't really quite do yet.
We suck.
That's what I'm saying. There we go.
Well, they have made
I
cheap
said my
remote
piece.
control ones.
Okay,
We're talking
My goodness.
science.
Okay,
Okay, great.
Science.
let's.
He's ejected into the audience now.
Bill Nye is awesome. All right, well, my name is Trap, and I am not, I would say, the expert in this case on the entertainment industry. These people to my left and to your right are the experts, the Crebers and BlackGryph0n. So this is Monique Creber, Michelle Creber, BlackGryph0n, of course, and Michael Creber.
Hello.
Let's give them
Hello.
welcome.
Hola.
Now, this panel was actually formed because one of the most common questions that are asked at any convention that these guys have attended is,
How do I famous?
how do I famous? That was the way I phrased it after EQLA,
Yeah.
because there was like a line of 4 people who were saying, I really want to get into voice acting. I really want to get into singing. I'm an artist. I'm an author. I really want to get, how did you get into this industry? And I was talking with Monique and with Michelle and Michael before this convention and after other conventions, and we all agreed. I mean, this is something that often takes up a big chunk of voice actor panels, but is too detailed to go into at those panels. So I thought it would be kind of cool and fun to try to go into a little more detail here, and answer some more specific questions that you might have,
Yeah, I
So.
think that would be great.
indeed.
And, just so you guys know, obviously BlackGryph0n is incredibly talented, and although he doesn't work on My Little Pony, he actually is right now getting himself into some pretty serious entertainment type stuff. Did you tell them about American Idol?
I did not.
You
Did I?
should.
I told somebody about it. Yeah. No, I got lucky. This is kind of more luck, I guess, because they screen a lot of people. But I have an executive producer audition for American Idol coming up, and the
Yeah.
executive producers are the people who decide what's on the show, basically. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
So he's also, within the last year, he's also got himself an agent. He's also
Two agents.
Yep. You've
Yeah.
also booked a couple of roles that you're already at that point. See, this is how you know you're qualified. You're already at that point where you can't talk about the roles that you've booked, and
That
that's
is
how you know
true.
you've made it. So anyway, these guys are going to answer some questions or talk in general about getting into the realm of entertainment. I don't know if you wanted to maybe start off by talking about, how you yourselves got into, the entertainment industry.
Sure. And also, I just wanted to say, too, before we start, that it is, I know that the questions exist because it is really hard to figure out how to do it. It's not that you're just not looking in the right place or, that you haven't easily found the answers. They're not easy to find. That's really the problem. And even for Michael and I, who were both in the entertainment industry when we met and, did that for a living in different areas, he was more, well, I'll let you speak for yourself, but we were already doing it. And then when Michelle got involved, a lot of the things that she did were slightly different than what we did, and it was like reinventing the wheel. Even within the entertainment industry, different avenues of it have completely different ways of how they operate and how you go about getting involved. And that's really one of the big things that a lot of people don't realize is they think there's sort of one definitive answer for everything, that all the avenues will lead down to the same major thoroughfare at the end, and they don't. But you can pursue them simultaneously. You can pursue multiple avenues, and we actually really recommend that. But it is different, and there's some of them cross over and some of them don't. So I just want to say that, if you do feel confused by it, join the club, because it is really hard to figure out, and it's not just where you can go, I want to go take a degree in how to get into this industry. It doesn't exist. You have to really
It's a
kinda
postgraduate.
Yes, it does, and it's awarded at the end of this panel.
So anything that we can share to help you, we will do. So for me to answer what Draft suggested, I
Well,
no,
thank
no,
you.
that was my preamble that I said I wanted to say before.
The pre-answer answer.
I'm a singer and a voice actor, and I am a producer, director, and a coach. So again, as I say, we do multiple avenues, and I do session singing and performing, session as in recording session for different things, from TV things to, I actually sang on quite a few of the songs for My Little Pony, sing backups on people's albums, have some of my own music, produce other people, albums for other people or songs for other people. So it's really, really multifaceted. And Michael, I'll let you, he's also very multifaceted. Some of it crosses over and some of it's completely different than what I do.
Yeah. I'm Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael.
Just to consult with Gabe now.
Halfway through the panel.
What's
Hi,
my last
Michael.
name again?
Yeah, and I like everything that Monique has said. Everyone has their own path, and at any given moment, you might be on multiple paths. If you look at our daughter, if you look at Michelle, she works as a singer. She has stuff online as a singer. She works as an actor. She works as a voice actor, and she's also a dancer. So all those things that she's pursuing, some, at one moment will keep her busy, and the other will just be falling off. There'll be tons of auditions and no roles, for example. So if you have all these different things you like to do them, pursue them, and get them out there. So that's just one thing that came to mind. But I came up as a player. I'm a pianist. I was trained as a classical piano player, but I really wanted to play rock and roll and jazz and blues and folk and everything else, and which I just started to do. I rebelled when I was a teenager, and I started playing that stuff. I'd sneak home from school and play blues licks and stuff. And so whatever your passion is, that's kind of what I thought I should do. And then I tried to make it pay, and that was the thing. So in those days, you could play for a living. It's much harder now. We would do gigs. I don't know if you've ever heard of gigs, but a gig is where you go and you play, and you get paid to do that. And so those are much harder to find everywhere now. That's changed, and in fact, the whole world has changed. So the one thing I might say is that when I came up, everything that's true for me is not true anymore. I can't say, sit down and practice your instrument, 5 hours a day like I did. Really, that is not necessarily the way. It might be that you should sit in the computer and learn how to put your video up on YouTube, or learn how to make a better demo, or understand how your gear works, or you might, learn more about music too. What are the chords? How do I put them together to make a song? All those things are important, not just one avenue. So I found myself, after touring with different bands, I toured with Katie Lang and the Irish Rovers and Raffi for years. All of a sudden, I was just sort of tired of touring, and I had to stay home and figure out how to run a studio. So I had a bunch of gear, and I just kind of learned from scratch and sort of recreated my life as a producer and a composer. So you might find you're having to recreate everything you do every couple of years, because the only constant in entertainment is change. It's going to be different in 5 years. Everything we think now is the way it is not going to be in 5 years. It'll all have evolved into something else, and it's going faster. It's changing quickly. So just keep your eyes and ears open to the way changes are happening.
And I was just going to say, going off of that, I mean, this sort of audience here is real proof of that, because, I mean, imagine it 15 years ago, you wouldn't have necessarily an internet-based fandom that would be able to, you know, congregate online and offline around a show, you know.
Yeah.
It just didn't exist.
That
yeah.
it's so true, and actually I think that is one of the most important things to know, because even when Michelle was born, I released we released a couple of CDs around that time period, and how CDs were marketed and even manufactured, even literally how we physically made them, right down to how they're sold. Everything has changed. So when we went to produce her CD a couple of years ago, I had to relearn the whole industry, because that 10 years was enough time that everything completely changed. And BlackGryph0n's an amazing example of the one really important thing now. Well, it's always been important, but it's completely changed how you do it. And that is, how do you market what you do? That's one of the things that we should touch on today. But you know, he's done such a great job. I'll let you describe your own thing. But he has, you know, he's built up his YouTube channel. He's surpassed 70,000 followers on YouTube. And
Yes. Thank you. I'll pay you later.
my fee's going up, by the way.
No.
Well, everything changes. So.
Everything too.
It's all different.
Anyway, yeah, no. It is easier, I think, than ever now to get yourself out there because of the internet.
I agree.
Any video on YouTube can be found by anybody in the world with a computer. So the trick is getting your videos noticed. And the way to do that is to make something that people like. But your motivation can't be, I mean, I'm not saying you should never aspire to get, you know, recognition and attention for the stuff that you do. When people say your goal shouldn't be to get famous, I don't completely 100% agree with that. That shouldn't be your primary focus, but you should be driven. You know, if you want to do it for a living, then yes, eventually you're going to have to do it professionally where you make money off of it. So that, I think that should be a goal down the line. But the reason you should be doing it is because you enjoy it, and it's fun for you. And it's going to be slow. I think it's slow for everybody in the beginning. And I had a really great, I talked with me and Michelle and Monique had a really great workshop with a casting director from LA who did, who casts CSI Miami, Hawaii Five-0, and some other shows. And she said something that I thought was very interesting regarding that. She said that if you have to work hard for it, then you should be thankful, because a lot of the actors who make it right away are the ones who don't appreciate anything, get really arrogant, don't make connections, and then fall down to the bottom of the chain and never come back up, because they don't appreciate what they have, they don't work hard, and they don't they really just, they don't care about the other people.
Oh, come on now. Jamie Kennedy is a nice guy. Let's Jamie Kennedy, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, about 10 years ago, Jamie Kennedy. Anybody remember him? He was in a bunch of movies.
No.
No, exactly. He was in a
Everyone's
bunch
like,
of
who?
movies.
Who?
You just make up
Point.
any name and say
Exactly.
Exactly.
Megan Yes, does anybody know that story? The reason she's not in the couple Transformers movies is because she had the gigantic ego. She said some really nasty things about the director, and he's like, goodbye. See her anymore?
All the entertainment is a people business. Everything is to do with your relationships with other people. So the more responsible you can be when someone hires you for a session, or to write a song, or to produce a record, or any little thing you might be doing, keep in mind that you're working with other people. And it's those interactions, people will remember how you behaved, what kind of person you were to be with. All that stuff is what counts.
It really counts. And actually, Michelle can really speak about that too, because she experiences things where when she goes in for auditions, that there are people that she's run across before. She wasn't not necessarily cast, but they remember. And then when the right thing comes along, like, do you want to just talk a little bit about your diversity?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. I mean, just it's an odd business, and there's just so many different determining factors on whether you get a part and anything. A lot of the times, actually, you might be the best person for the role, but there's just so many other things that they need for that role. Like the person has to look like the other family members, or brown hair, black hair, or whatever. There's just so many things. You can't be hard on yourself at all, because there's just what?
Is that a lot of rejection?
Yeah, exactly. But the more you build up your repertoire, I guess, with certain casting directors and certain directors and producers, etc., it starts to come you go so far ahead, and you just feel like you keep falling back and falling back. What you're really doing is you're just building everything up. You're building up your reputation, and also just generally being, I mean, again, as I think you were saying that, like, or who said that, is just being a good
Networking?
yeah, but also being being professional and
Yeah.
Personal reputation with people. Who said?
We think that's really important. Yeah.
That counts for a lot too. So
People are people, and whether they're the directors or the voice actors or the fans or the person carrying your baggage to the car or whatever, they are all people, and they all deserve equal respect regardless of what they do. And
Except
I
if
think
they
that's
work
really
at
important.
McDonald's.
And if I may make a small,
what?
Except if they work at McDonald's.
Well,
No,
even that.
you know, I was going to just
Even
say,
that.
I mean, excuse me, my voice is going. I feel like I've accomplished something by not having lost it the first day.
my voice is doing just fine this convention.
Well, that's because you're a voice actor and you have.
That's true.
But my voice is trained like that. But I was going to say, in my experience, like I get some people who come up and ask me, and this is a completely different realm in some regards, but people ask me often, well, how do you get these interviews? How do you do all this work with these people? You know, who did you pay? Who did you bribe? Who did you threaten? And it's like, yeah, you're so lucky. It's not luck at all. It's hard work. And it's a lot of just like talking to people, making sure that, you know, if you make a promise, you keep it, et cetera. And so that's how a lot of these things have come together, at least for what I do.
That is really true. And you know, when I first received the email from you, we'd never met before. I had no idea what Everfree Network was. We were just starting to get the idea that there was a fandom building up, and had seen a few things about that.
That was almost 3 years ago, by the way.
I know, 3 years. I can't believe it. And what I read was a very professionally written letter, and requesting an interview. So I asked Michelle's agent if that was something we could consider doing, and she said sure, and we did it, and we've just been working on stuff together ever since. So yeah, it's just you know.
I think what I was just going to say, going off of what you guys said, because from my experience working within the Brony fandom, which is almost a microcosm in a sense of the entertainment industry, is that a lot of it is, you know, maintaining an integrity. A lot of it is just putting in the hard work. If you think you have something that's worthy of being shared with the world, then you better put in as much work on getting it shared, or, you know, getting it promoted as you did putting into it. For example, I've heard from some people too, like, you know, I wrote this novel. You know, that's great. You've done half your job.
yeah,
Yes,
where is it?
it is
Where
very
I read
good.
it?
And
Can I find it? You can.
the number of people that I've seen comment on BlackGryph0n's channel and or other places on his social media who said, "You are so lucky that you get to do this.
It's not a
you are
passive
so
industry.
lucky you get to do that."
It's not a
No,
passive
he
industry.
works
It doesn't
his
happen
butt
to
off
you.
to do what he does, and he puts out good product, and that's what gets noticed. I mean, you know, there are some elements of luck that can enter into it from time to time. We all, you know, sometimes get lucky with the way an audition goes, or just the way you meet someone that's able to introduce you to someone else. But that introduction means nothing if you don't have something
Exactly.
to show.
I think it's like the lottery. I think it's like an audition is like a lotto ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the more auditions you do, eventually you're going to book something. And same with being on the internet and stuff like that. The more stuff you put out there, the more material there is for people to look through. And if you have good product, then you
Yes.
will eventually get recognized.
So you're saying
So-
that if I continuously put lotto tickets into the lottery, that I'm going to win the lottery?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, keep doing it.
You know,
Good.
I just have a quick question for the audience, because we've been going for a bit.
Yeah.
Just by show of hands, how many people in here would call themselves an aspiring voice actor, author, musician, you know, creative in general? Because I found that that a lot of conventions this is the case.
Yeah.
And I think the point we're all kind of getting at here is that if you really believe in what you're doing, right?
Yeah. And you're passionate about it and doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, you should not only follow through and making sure that what you have is, you know, is worthy for the public, but also, you know, put in as much work on getting to know the right people, getting to, you know, promoting yourself, et
Yes,
cetera.
and one other quick thing I'll say, I guess we should open up to questions soon,
Yeah,
but one
yeah.
other thing I'd like to say that gets asked all the time, or I've seen all the time I've been coaching for more than 30 years, I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. And a lot of stories over that period of time have involved someone being told that they weren't cut out to do something that they really wanted to do. They weren't good enough, they weren't right for it. And as a coach, I really feel quite upset when I hear someone's story where they were, where their dreams were killed by someone telling them that they weren't good enough. Because everybody's definition of what's good enough and everybody's definition of what it is that they wanted to do can be quite different. So some people might have to hardly work at it at all because they had a lot of natural gifts in place or were immersed in it as a child, so they got a head start. Certainly there are different levels that people are starting at, but I have personally witnessed people who've come from very little to no skill at things and gotten quite good at it. So I really want to strongly say that if you have a teacher or a coach or somebody, a friend, somebody telling you that you shouldn't do what you really, really want to do, I just really recommend not. If it's someone you're paying to help you, go find somebody else.
Yeah.
If it's a
Yes.
family member that you can't go replace, then just block that channel
know,
out.
I know that earlier on, back in 2012, I used to tell everybody when they say, well, how did you get involved in doing these things? I would say I was a speech and debate coach. I don't say that anymore. I say I'm a debate coach. And one of the major reasons why I don't coach speech anymore is one of my co-speech coaches told me on multiple occasions that her attitude was that people either have talent or they don't.
Yeah, a lot of
And
teachers
from
are
her
like that.
attitude was that if a student didn't have enough talent in her eyes, she would spend no time with them. And I
That's so
thoroughly
stupid.
disagree with that
I do
attitude.
too.
I
Yeah.
think that if you put enough work into it,
There's a
I've
place
seen
for
it.
everybody in the
There
Yeah.
is a
industry, in
place.
my
That's
opinion.
very
and I got
good.
into
Yes,
multiple
you're right.
arguments with her over it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I was I never took singing lessons consistently, but I went. My mom took me when I was younger to a few singing coaches just to have them evaluate my singing and see what they could do with it because I wanted to improve, and every single one of them told me that I was either doing it wrong, stop trying to mimic this person, stop with the fake vibrato. And Mom, when she would hear that, she'd be like, okay, thank you, and then she'd leave and say, I don't know what they're talking about. Keep doing what you're doing. And what's important to remember,
Dude.
Well-
8-year-old Gabe, dude.
dude. No, but what's important, I think, to remember is that I think I tend to feel like sometimes when someone who is in a position where they should know what they're talking about tells me something like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, I feel like they know they are correct. And that's not the case. I think it's a little gray. Little gray kale.
I said nothing.
That
No,
was just for Tim.
Sorry, it's inside joke. It's a little gray because someone had to write the textbooks. Someone had to come up with the right way to sing. And I think there are multiple right ways to do it.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
people
That
like
is-
what you're doing, then you're doing it right, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I have
there's
this
no one
great-
way.
I totally agree. A quick anecdote that you guys will like about that. More than one way to do it, and there's more than one way to pursue it, and there's more than one way to have an outcome, and different genres and singing styles is one example of that. People think that if they just learn how to sing, that then they can sing all styles equally. Well, not necessarily so. If you study classical singing, then you will develop a good opera voice. But that doesn't necessarily make you a good pop singer. And in reality, it can actually kill some of your pop instincts, or it doesn't necessarily make you a good jazz singer. And so, part of it is deciding which genre do you want to follow if you're doing something like that. Do you want to be a pop singer? In which case, make sure that the training you're pursuing and the experience you're pursuing is pop. Or if you want to be jazz, then you should be doing that. Some people think that, going down, there's this one avenue that takes you to all those places. And when Michelle was younger, she clearly was inspired by popular and jazz and, contemporary music styles. And I had a lady say to me once, we were actually walking the dogs in a park, and her daughter had been taking some lessons, and she said, okay, well, it's time for her to get some real training now, so we're going to, we're going to get classical training because that's the real
Yeah.
training. That's the legit
So many
training.
people go
Everything
through
else.
that.
And then she said to me, so what are you going to do with Michelle? And I said, well, she's still in my classes and I'm still teaching her. And she said, well, when are you going to get her some real lessons? And I said, really? You don't think? And no, I didn't. No, I wasn't round. It was really like, are you serious? You think that she needs to have that kind of training to do what she wants to do? And a year later, she was singing "Hush Now, Quiet Now." So, it's just an example. If she wants to do opera, then she should get some opera training. But if she wants, you have to pick your genre. That's really what it comes down to, as Gabe says, or BlackGryph0n says. It's decide. There is more than one way to do it, and you can pursue them all. You can pursue them simultaneously. If you want to sing all styles, study some opera and some jazz and some pop. You can do that, but don't think one of them is going to get you to all the places.
I have this, I'm more of a writer and editor myself. Just again, I'm not operating on the same level as these guys are with the industry, but I have at home a book that I keep on my shelf. It's an 1888 edition of, I think it's Love of English Language. It is the worst written thing I've ever seen. Like, there are run-on sentences that run for pages, but in the 19th century, that was considered, eloquent. That was considered really good. And this manual speaks with this commanding authority, thou shalt use, an excess of florid language, and all this other stuff. And I keep it there to remind myself that, there are no rules. There's no exact right way. You tie it into the show. They just recently, in season 4, there's an episode, Rainbow Dash learns equestrian history in her own, different way by flying over Ponyville and having people teach her in another way. I mean, I think anybody who
Lots of
tells
ways
you that you're being taught wrong, and if it's working for you, they're wrong.
It's so interesting how society has built these rules that obtain to everything. I mean, who had the authority to decide what was cool or what was trendy? I mean, honestly, there's no
Thank
right
you.
or wrong. Just do whatever you want to do and just don't pay attention to everyone else.
Just
It's
don't
not-
kill anybody.
They're not right. They don't have the right to say that they're right, and they don't have the right to say that you're wrong. So just do it. Just do whatever you want.
Just do it.
How many? Sorry.
I think if I just might sort of add to that, in the realm of the imagination, I mean, look what's been done with the show, how it's opened up this whole world has been created in people's imaginations, and we kind of create those worlds and live in them, and that's where there's no rules. In the worlds of imagination, which includes music and art and dance and entertainment in general, that's where you have this kind of freedom. So we're not talking about unlimited social anarchy or anything like that.
No.
What we mean is do what you want to do within these worlds that we've created of the imagination, and it really is infinite. You just have so many choices, and don't let people shut down those choices arbitrarily, and that's what happens with a lot of what we're calling experts, which, we don't claim to be experts, actually.
No.
We just do what we do, and then we're trying to share our experience with you. But one of the things we're all saying is, do it your own way. Make something that's your own, and that is something that's if you go to the next level, that's marketable. If you look at what BlackGryph0n here has done, he's created something that's his, but within this realm that everybody can appreciate it, and put it out there. And that's what we all can do. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, and make friends.
Yes.
Make friends
very important.
and rise with them.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Really, really good advice.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Well,
Yes.
You want to?
I think you guys may have some questions for them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We can form a line. Do you think that makes sense? You want to do a
Yeah,
line? Let's do a line.
Sure.
If we could get somebody with a
Fancy right now.
microphone, let's say over on this side, so people aren't walking, getting tripped up, and we will answer questions.
Cool.
Yeah.
Come on up if you have questions.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Oh, and while the line forms, that text I was talking about, I use it to torment some of my students. I make them read from it, and they, yeah, because it's run-on sentences. Well, I do awful things to my students. I take notes on an actual typewriter, because if you can deal with a racket like that, you can deal with anything. Yeah, yeah.
Is there a chance we could have the person come up to ask the question?
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
maybe
why don't we
you
just
know,
Yeah, I
form
want to
a
be
line
able
in
to
the
see you
middle.
guys.
There's a-
Though it is fun to imagine what
that's
you
why
look
we haven't
like
been
when I
doing
hear
that.
your voice behind the speaker.
Yeah, just like if you just come up closer when you're at, like you
They're
can
right
co-
there, that's
come up in
perfect.
front.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine.
In front of the front.
Yeah,
Sit on the table.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Just so we can actually see you. Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Cool.
There you
That's
go.
Perfect.
Hey, I
right
know
there.
you.
That's better.
Is this okay? So
Yeah.
So I have a few questions, but out of respect, I'll ask one and then go to the back of the line.
Oh,
But one would be, once you get to a certain age, do you think employers are looking for some level of drama schooling to do any sort of like voice acting or acting work? Because a lot of times, you look at the people who are in the industry and, they went to such and such college for theater or for drama, or they studied, something related to the profession. And if you went to school for something completely different, but you're still interested in the industry, but you're of college age or
Right.
beyond, do you think there's kind of an expectation that you have some minimal amount of related schooling?
I don't think there's any expectation for schooling, but what a lot of people don't realize for voice acting is that the most important word in that title is acting. And so a lot of people spend time developing voices, which is good to have in your bag of tricks, but being able to act is the most important factor of the two. And so if they've gone to college or university and studied acting, then that would have helped them in their
Yeah.
voice acting. But in the voice actor industry in general, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody actually caring whether there's post-secondary education in that realm. They just listen to your audition and decide if they,
Right.
like what you're doing.
College, also, while it's a great place to learn, it's also a great place to make connections. Back
Yeah.
to the friends thing, if you make friends with tons of people that are at that college, and one of them makes it, and you're friends with them, they could help you out. It's, just keep the connections going. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm done with that part
Yeah.
of my life for
Mhm.
now. I was
Yeah.
just wondering if maybe I need to consider going back or something.
I don't think so. You can. There's so many things you can. What
Yeah.
city do you live in? A big
well,
city?
I'm down in the Mankato area, but
There
I
we go.
went up to school in St. Cloud, so.
Is that in this
So
area?
he's from an hour south of the cities, and he went to
So you live
college
close
an hour
to a-
north
a
of the
reasonable-
cities.
Basically.
You live
know-
close to a fairly big city, then. That's what I was.
Did you hear how Harrison Ford got into acting? He started when he was about 35 years old, and he started in the industry as a carpenter on sets. And I can't remember if it was Star Wars or another one that he was working on. Yeah, it was a Star Wars, where just for the heck of it, he read the part for Han Solo. And that's what boosted his career. I mean, there's no set way. I mean, he was 35 at the time.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we
Sure.
made a brilliant connection, as we were saying, with this casting director
Well,
that came
workshops
to do that workshop. And
Yeah, there's ways to get training too, where you don't have to do an official, degree or take years of schooling. You can get training specific areas, and workshops are one of the great ways to do that. Someone's giving an acting workshop in your town, take it, or a voice acting workshop, or something like that, right? Or
That's-
private coaching.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
was asking you which city. If you're close to a big city, then usually you'll be able to find things that you can enroll for that are short term. They might be 8 weeks, or they might be an intense weekend.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No, just that. Just
Okay.
that.
Pretty sure
Yeah.
locally, I think that Guthrie might have a couple programs.
Yeah.
They're really well
And
known.
you know what another great thing to do is you don't even have to be in that city. I mean, you can do
Skype.
Skype coaching. I do Skype coaching. Kathy Westluck does it. I
the
think.
internet.
What's that?
I said the internet, sorry.
Oh yeah, there's a few
In his
people who
announcer
do
voice.
Skype coaching. Michael Dangerfield does. There's quite a few people in Vancouver who do Skype coaching, and people in LA who do Skype coaching. So you can look up and think, who would I like to do some coaching with? You can just try one lesson with them and see if you feel like you learned something, and do more if you
Yeah,
like it, or try somebody else.
honestly, mom's the best person that I would recommend for that.
Oh,
really
thank
good.
you.
So-
I'll pay you later.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
owe
you
each
get
other
an
a lot of
increase in
money.
your allowance.
I don't have an allowance.
Oh right.
That incidentally somewhat answers what one of my other questions was how important is location if you do want to get into voice acting? Because some people have said, yeah, you kind of need to live in one of the big places where they hire people like, LA or West Coast or New York, East Coast. And
Can I tell you a story about something that happened last week? I booked a commercial, and
It's the funniest picture. Oh my god.
I was in a hotel when I got the word that I booked a commercial from an online audition that's going to be televised in Toronto area in Canada. And I was like, well, 'cause, I was at a Super 8 motel. And my brother was gone. I didn't have a car. I was like, I have to record this somehow. And I was frantically looking for studios because the people who were paying me would also pay the studio fee, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. It was really short notice. They just, they assumed I was in Toronto, so they thought I was going to come in and record, but I had a nice mic with me. And the client doesn't know this. But
This is being live streamed, I just want to say.
oh, I hope.
A
sorry.
microphone and a computer.
You guys,
A
they
microphone
said they
and a
liked
computer.
it, so this is all that matters at this point. But I
under the
I hung all of the blankets on the beds in the hotel up in the bathroom for sound, dampening, and then I held my condenser mic. I wrote the script on a Wendy's bag in permanent marker, and I clipped it to the hanging towel, and then I speakerphoned with the client with my iPhone sitting on the sink and read the commercial.
And they loved
It was
it.
really, and they loved it.
And he has a picture. He has a photograph to tweet his makeshift studio. It's hilarious.
Right.
You need to form a company and call it Super 8 Studios.
The clients love it.
But the location thing, it depends what you want to do. If you're wanting to, a show like My Little Pony, you really have to be, most of the people are in Vancouver, for
Yeah.
example. So if you have a show like that you really want to be close to, then you do have to be in the area. But if you're, there's online, Michael, why don't you?
Yeah, there's Voice
the-
1, 2, 3. There's
yeah.
numerous online resources or places where you can actually audition, and they put up, for voice acting jobs. And so that's just one
Yeah,
of them, right?
and
What-
having your own gear, just like a decent microphone that you can record into your laptop, you can send in those auditions, and there's Voice 1, 2, 3, and the other one is Voice Bank.
Some
1,
people
2,
make a
3.
living off of that.
Yeah.
And
it's
I
just all-
recommend the USB Audio-Technica AT2020. It's a great condenser, and it's less than $100, and that's what I've been using for most of the songs that I've
It's
done.
USB, right?
Yeah.
Plugs right in.
Really simple. Don't even need a preamp.
No.
Great.
Thank you. I'll be back with a couple more.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck.
Hello. You could let the whole line come up closer so we don't have to waste time in between. Yeah. Hello.
Shuttle them
Hi.
back and forth.
So, I've been in choir since like 6th grade probably, and I've been dancing since I was in 4th grade. But I've been trying out a lot for solos, and I've never gotten anything. And I've been kind of like down because people have just been like, "Oh no, you're not good," or "Oh no, you're not." Like I almost got one, and it kind of just like tore me apart because like there's all these state things I try out for and stuff like that. I just can't make it. I was wondering if you had any advice for like improving a voice, because that's all I can really think of that I need to do.
I would.
They're having their own little conversation here, apparently.
Just in general. Just
Oh, okay. Sure. They were telling me to say a certain story, but I couldn't hear what story they were saying. Okay, well, first of all, I would have a lot of advice for you on how to improve that situation if I could hear you. So finding somebody, a coach who actually, first of all, believes that everybody can do it is number one. And then finding someone who's knowledgeable enough that can analyze where the problem might be and help you get past that is number two. And everybody, believe me, everybody can be improved. So I'm sure that, with the right coaches that could happen. And then the next thing, though, is what they were just mentioning, is that some people, it takes a lot of auditions before something works out. Michelle mentioned earlier, there's a lot of rejection in this industry. There's tons of rejection. It's huge. And you have to get a thick skin if you're doing it whenever you start, whatever age you are, you have to develop a thick skin, which can help you. You know, there's rejection in job interviews when you get older if you're doing it as a child. There is a lot of rejection in life, and handling it in a way that it doesn't destroy you is really an important skill to try to develop. And it's hard, it hurts. There's things that people want really badly, and there's times when the way that you're given the rejection is heartless, and it's not friendly a lot of the times. But just not taking it personally, not letting it get you down, and finding the way to get past it. So don't listen to the people that, you know, that are saying that you can't do it. Maybe it wasn't what they needed right at that moment. Maybe that day didn't go well for you, but that doesn't mean that you can't figure out how to do it better as you move forward. So I would say get outside coaching. If you're doing that at school, you know, don't go to a teacher at the school. The problem once you get into this is actually important for everybody that's in a school or somewhere that's tight like that. Unfortunately, teachers are only human, and what'll happen a lot of times, I've worked in schools, and what'll happen a lot of times is they'll decide where a student is in their abilities on any given subject, and they have them sort of pigeonholed there, and it's really hard for them to see when that person's made some progress.
Yep.
Because they've decided that's where they're slotted in. It's not a conscious decision, I don't think. It's not intentional, but it happens. And so then, you know, it really takes kind of a shocker for them to go, holy cow, what happened? That person really improved. So I wouldn't go to the people that are telling you that you can't do it. I would find outside help.
I had a student when I was coaching speech that her name is Maddie, and she's incredibly intelligent. When I was coaching speech, she started off, she had been put in a category called pros. I don't know, are you in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know speech team at all?
Not really.
Okay, sometimes there's a little bit crossover between choirs and speech team for some reason. Anyway, everybody told her she couldn't do it. They kept saying, you're not good at speech, you're not, you know. And the coach that I mentioned earlier that I got into arguments with was dead certain. She said, Maddie will never win a tournament. And I looked at her and I said, I will prove you wrong. And I put her in a different category because for her, she was trying to accomplish something in the wrong category. She was doing prose. She wanted to, convey a message. I think it was about environmentalism. And I said, no, let's put you in original oratory. Let's put you in a category where you can speak, passionately. She won first place at about 4 tournaments that year. Yeah. And we took her to Harvard. She performed at Harvard and won against, a couple people who won, regional tournaments. I mean, and that coach, though, even after that coach said, well, that was a fluke. Some people are so stuck in their mindsets.
Yep.
And
like
they
that.
don't want to be proven wrong.
They don't want to be proven wrong,
Yeah.
and it's your job, I think, as a student, if you believe in what you're doing, to just say, to hell with that.
And you can
They're the
also
ones
just
who are
pursue
wrong.
it outside of school. Just, I know people who are brilliant outside of school, and they don't even bother doing it at school because the teachers at school have decided that.
I wouldn't have survived as a musician if I'd relied on my high school at all. And the school band teacher was what you would call a highly neurotic individual. I was playing trumpet at the time. And if he got a least bit upset, he would throw his baton at the band, or then he threw his whole music stand at the band. And it was like, this is really weird. And I started to stop enjoying it. I stopped playing the trumpet. But I was playing piano outside of school, and I kept doing that. So
You
it's
should have
true.
stuck
I
with
wouldn't
trumpet,
have.
man.
I wouldn't
Come
be a
on.
musician.
Find a place where you're inspired. That really is find teachers and environments where you can feel
Being
free and
encouraged.
feel safe to improve and to aspire to what you want to do, and that you feel inspired in that environment, not scared or oppressed or.
Well, and I think that the converse of this is true, though. There are teachers out there who are incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
That are amazing. And I
Absolutely.
think-
It's just she said that she was.
Oh yeah,
really
yeah,
good,
I know what you mean. But I'm sure
Yeah.
that that everybody here is at some point in their academic career had a teacher for a subject that they thought they were going to hate and managed to learn a lot and had a great time in it. You guys know what I'm talking about? They had that one teacher, and it's a subject you would have never thought was interesting. Yeah. I mean, so you gotta find those kinds of people. If you had a teacher like that, I think try to find more people that operate like that, because clearly it worked for you.
Yeah, and it's not just the teachers at my school; it's the students.
Oh,
Because
you can ignore them.
Yeah.
When you
Yep.
graduate,
Yes.
when you graduate, they're all going to be gone from your life, and
Yep.
you're going to
Yep.
ignore them.
But
Yeah.
it's really sad how this industry and this high school wise has just turned into a huge popularity contest.
Yeah.
I
because
High
think it's
school-
always been that.
High
Like,
school is
Kids
like
are
that,
kids,
yeah.
you know?
I work with high schoolers every year. High school is
What grade are you in?
Okay,
Yeah. You don't have much longer.
in
You'll-
4 years, you're gonna look back and be like, okay, all that was BS. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, it's
Yeah.
it's not relevant to your career in the long
Yeah,
run.
because there was a duet that they got the duet in in the choir concert a couple weeks ago, and they were like amazing with the song. And there are these girls that are just sitting there talking crap about them because
Oh, yeah.
and
Because it
got
makes
to
them
the
feel better
point-
about themselves.
It got to
Yeah.
the point where one of the girls who wanted the solo out of the duet, she was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna shove Heather off the stage and sing the solo for her," and it was like, "What are you thinking?"
Sounds like High School Musical.
But you know what happens to those kinds of people? They fall by the wayside.
They do.
yeah.
They don't. I mean,
Yeah.
high school is this weird world where popularity is important.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway,
You
I
just gotta
think
find
Yeah,
people
exactly.
outside of school that are in the same kind of boat as you and that'll understand and
Yes.
respect what you're doing and what you. Why am I moving my mic?
Your friends are the people who matter.
But yeah, you just what?
No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
cold.
if popularity was the reason, that you would excel, we would not have a world now run by all us nerds. I mean, you look at these guys,
Yes.
Microsoft and Apple, and
Yes.
everything. Come on, it's not about popularity.
Yeah, I saw a really cool shirt. It's something like, laugh, something about the nerds. It was like, laugh now at the nerds. Someday they'll be your boss, or someday they'll be working for them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
So I have a goal. I don't want to turn anybody down.
We've been
this line.
answering like
I-
20
Yeah.
20
Yeah, we're
minutes.
taking a long time.
No,
It's
thank
probably
you
because
so-
we have a lot of there's a lot
I
of
know
stuff to
you're
cover, so
gonna
let's
do
go through
great.
these
Thank
next
you so
questions.
much.
Yeah, let's just
Thank you.
go through these next
Yeah.
questions quicker. We'll
So,
try
yeah,
not to
So I don't want to turn any of you down. is
go
what I'm
on
saying. Okay.
tangents.
We'll try not to talk so much.
I know how you guys said
luck.
that, like, if you like what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. And how do you deal with, when people put down you or your work?
Well, I mean,
question.
honestly,
Very good.
I've learned, and I mean, I've known this for quite a while now, is that the only people that should matter to you, and the only people's opinions and are the people that you know that are close to you and that you trust, and that respect you and don't treat you like you're nothing, and that's very important because you can't. People that don't respect you don't have the right to like tell you that you're not good enough or something. And I have wonderful friends. I have wonderful family, and those are the people that I care like that. Yeah, exactly. I don't. If someone tells me that you're not a very good singer, I'm like, okay, thanks, great.
Hey, tell them the quote from your dance teacher. I love this quote.
Best dance teacher. He is amazing. He's such a philosophical man. He said, "Don't let people rent space in your head for free."
You
Yeah.
get that?
Or
Don't
at
let
any
people
cost.
rent space in your head for free.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as feedback on the internet is concerned, I have fun with it.
Yeah.
He's
you
got
do.
the
I
best
do.
answers.
I like to. It's just. It's funny. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
if
because
you make
I.
a joke out of it, then it kind of lets them know, especially if they're trolling, that you're not taking them seriously. Don't jab back.
Yeah, it's
in
not
fact-
because we pity them or anything, or that
It's
we.
kinda I have kind of a self-deprecating sense of humor, so what I like to do is if someone, I can't think of an example right now, but if someone says something like, "Man, you're so stupid," or something, "No, you're horrible," it's like, "Yeah, I know, but at least I'm ugly," or something. I don't know. Just make a joke out of it.
You have some redeeming
Yes.
feature. Yeah. Your sense of humor goes a very long way.
Yeah, because then if if what they're trying to do is get to you, and so if they see that you're not getting to them, that they're not getting to you, they're either gonna give up. Eventually, they all do. Actually, I had one YouTuber make 9 separate channels because I kept blocking him. Doritos Are Epic was his name. I think he's on Doritos Are Epic 31 or something. But yeah, just I don't know, just don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And don't let them rent space in your head for free. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, thanks.
You're very
No
welcome.
problem.
Most people need inspiration to do what they do. What is your inspiration?
Coca-Cola. I don't know.
You hate Coca-Cola.
You don't even
I
drink
do.
that.
It was the first
You
word that popped
hate
in my.
it.
I do. I can't stand it. It's my least favorite soda. What's wrong with me? I'm tired. I need a
Well, you don't have
How
to
do
like
you
it.
not
only-
like Coca-Cola?
You don't have to like it.
root beer. If I don't drink a lot of soda, but I do like
I don't
root beer.
drink any soda. I hate it. I cannot
I have a
Good
phrase
for ya.
that I use often. We can't all be winners.
I don't worry
We don't
about
worry about
such
such
things.
things.
This might be why you said it,
Yeah.
Gabe.
Well, how about a
Maybe
real
you
answer?
saw this. That might be.
Maybe that
That
it
must
was
be why you said
subconscious.
Actually, I'm an RC Cola fan myself.
Right, it's cheaper. That's tastes the
It's
same,
not
but
cheaper,
it's
it's better.
no, I know what you're talking about. It tastes like
RC
bubble gum.
Oh no, it's horrible.
In my
No.
opinion, it tastes like bubble gum. Anyway, sorry. Like serious answer. Inspiration. I'm inspired by other musicians, other singers. Like, I do a lot of things, but I love singing. So if I hear someone who sings really well, I'm like, yes. I
He
get
gets really
kinda
excited
freaked-
about it.
I
Here's
do.
a good song and goes,
I do.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't plagiarize because I don't like that word, but I kind of I learn
People
from
borrow.
you borrow. It's everywhere. I mean, and
ideas.
you watch any interview from any famous singer, they'll talk about who inspires them as a singer. Like Michael Jackson borrowed some of his riffs from other people, you know. But it's just kind of I don't know. I think what inspires me is seeing other people that are doing what I'm doing and enjoying it, and then I don't know. I just really I like that. But I also get inspired by explosions in movies. Those are really cool, especially when they're far away and they go like this.
Okay,
Well, that's
Gabe,
pretty
Gabe.
inspiring.
Iron Man.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I knew you would do that. No, that scene where he just holds his arms out and just, yeah.
Yes. that is so. I think my favorite explosion ever. How did I get on this topic? Is in the movie itself. I didn't really like. It was Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and they're in an asteroid field, and he's dropping these mines into the
Yeah.
asteroid field, and it goes. Bam. It's like a bass note on a bass guitar. That's the sound they chose for this explosion. I was like,
Wow, what?
that's so unique.
I
I
actually-
learned to play bass because of that. Because I plugged it in and I cranked it all up and I went, bam, explosions. All right, sorry.
I think what Gabe was trying to say is you can find inspiration pretty much anywhere. And we'd all have different places at different times we would find inspiration. And one of the big ones though is people doing great things, and it could be in any kind of level, whether it's in arts or science, or even in politics or in social endeavors. People doing great things are inspiring, right? Somebody that's going out and helping other people. Somebody standing at the food bank serving food. If you watch them and say, wow, they're really enjoying helping people. That's inspiring to me. So I will, for me personally, I will find it in so many different areas I couldn't even begin to count. And it varies. I might read a book of poetry. I'll pick up poetry sometimes and say, wow, those words, they should be put to music, or they'll inspire me. So if you just keep look for quality events and look for quality things that people are doing, that's always inspiring.
Yeah, yes. What inspires you? What inspires me? Oh dear. I was talking about this earlier in the voice actor panel. How many of you were there? Pretty much all you. Yeah. Okay. Cool. What I do every day is I just generally think about 10-ish things that are very, very important to me. So that's like my friends and my family and my home and my dogs and just like where I am and that I'm doing what I love to do. And that's just kind of what drives me every day, is that I don't really care what I mean, obviously I want my fans to enjoy my work, but what matters to me is that the people that I respect and the people that respect me are they are, I don't know, I want to make the people that are important to me proud, not in the sense of like, guys, like I just booked a gig, like seriously, it's a big deal. But in terms of career, it's just I work hard to make the people around me that are important to me proud. I don't know. That's weird. Okay. Great. Okay.
Very proud of
Well,
her.
that's I don't know. It's
There's another thing
yeah.
that I think is important to mention that Michelle and BlackGryph0n both take, being the
Why
younger
do you-
members at our
why-
table.
Why do you call him BlackGryph0n? Everyone knows that his name is Gabe.
Well, because when I used to call him Gabe, they'd say who. So then I
all right.
said-
I've actually changed the way I sign things. I've been signing when I have time. A lot of
in
things
brackets,
BlackGryph0n.
Gabe.
Yes.
It's actually hard for me to spit out BlackGryph0n because I want to say Gabe.
I think we can all settle and just
Okay,
call
his
him
name's
Grey
Gabe.
Gale.
Okay, here we
What
go.
were you saying? What were you
Since
saying?
they're the
Bok
great.
choy.
Played
Since
bok
they're the
choy.
younger members of the table, especially, I want to point this out because one thing that that they really take care to do is to get exercise, to get fresh air, and to eat right. And I think
Yeah.
that is really, really important, and we really try to focus on that because and that really helps with inspiration. It really helps with, just feeling inspired and feeling creative and energetic and, passionate about what you're doing. And I think that is really important, just taking care of yourself and just doing those things, just really thinking about that and watching that you're getting good nutrition. Because it's a very demanding industry in terms of the energy level that you have to keep up. And if you're not taking care of yourself, it's difficult to do.
Lettuce companies everywhere will pay you later.
We've covered so many life topics in the past.
We're gonna try to
Yeah.
keep these
But that's
answers
because it
short,
is.
so.
It's
I know,
about
I
life.
know. All right. Well, thank
Running
you
a
very
little bit
much
over,
for your
but I think we're going to
questions.
try and
That's a
answer
great
a couple
question.
more
Let's answer these
questions.
Let's
quickly.
just
Great
answer these
question,
quickly.
yeah.
We've gone on so many tangents.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ah.
Those
Someone
glasses
stepped on it.
shatter amazingly.
I did it. No,
Don't
I'm
worry.
sorry. I didn't put that there. I love those cups though. They explode when you step on them.
Okay.
They go like. No, I'm kidding.
Like an explosion.
No, they go like
I
this.
love
Gabe.
explosions.
Gabe, they go.
Yeah.
I love how he. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. So not to cut up too much more of your time here. I'm
No, it's
actually
not our time. It's your time, though.
fair enough. I'm actually asking on behalf of my girlfriend, who I think is by far one of the most talented people I know.
She has been owning registration work this weekend. She
Yeah,
was working
yeah.
so hard. So if you remember, she had a blue shirt. A lot of you may have gotten your badges from her. Chickadee, she's amazing. So yeah.
She owns the Granny Smith plushie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But unfortunately, because she's had a history of having those teachers and people say, you're not going to make it or you should have stopped or something else, she's almost kind of to this point of like her self-doubt's like crippling her. And, myself and a lot of people, our loved ones, have done everything we can to try to cheer her up, try to cheer her on the best we can. But it feels like to the point that, no pun intended, kind of beating a dead horse. So I'm curious, what kind of advice would you have, at least for her or for me, to kind of tell her to kind of get her out of those slumps? Because, self-help books aren't really kind of helping right now. So
I'm going to answer this question very quickly, and it's kind of
Time's
a
up.
general thing. It's kind of a general thing, but it's so true, and you kind of have to think about it for a while to realize, oh yeah, you have the choice every single day, every hour, every minute to be happy. You have that choice. You have the authority to do that. You can just say, hey, I'm having a really crappy day, but I'm going to be happy. That's just, you can do that. And sometimes it's so hard, and I have bad anxiety. I have very bad anxiety. So one of the things that I have been told is just, you have to choose not to be anxious. You just have to. You have to not force yourself, but just be determined to be happy. And that's no matter what your situation is.
So you're saying that you're encouraging her to become empowered to take more control of the
Yeah.
situation?
Instead of thinking about what you don't have, think about what you have, and not be discouraged by how you don't feel like you're doing anything or you don't feel like you're going far, and just be.
I'm a little curious about what kind of stuff is she trying?
She really hasn't tried that much yet. She wants to. She's been networking. She's been talking to a few people. But she has talents with drawing, voice acting, at least I think, singing and writing. She has a lot of different talents here and there.
Yeah.
Nothing's really refined yet, but I believe with drafting, with enough time, you can make anything out of nothing.
Tell her to get a DeviantArt and post her stuff.
She does have one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and just keep.
One thing you can look at with all this is, first of all, everyone deserves to have self-esteem and self-respect, right? Everyone deserves that. So it's all of our duty to restore self-respect wherever we can, wherever you can help it. The other thing is that our value as human beings doesn't depend on what we create or do, or it's just because we are. So we can always be reminded of that. But then there's one other little thing. It's that just enable or help to create some small successes. Even you build on the tiniest thing, one piece of art that she really likes. She's going to put it on the fridge or on the door. one small success, and you can build from those. I created that. Look at that drawing. I did that. You know, those small things start to build self-esteem in a really positive way, and they can be built on. Right?
Then
Indeed.
we still have 2 questions.
Yeah.
So, the thank yous.
We're
No
around
problem.
this afternoon.
Yeah, of
if anybody
course.
wants to approach us,
Just
with
wanna
more
get
questions.
everyone's
But let's
questions.
just
Yeah,
get,
me
yeah.
too.
Thank you so much.
We'll
Great
just do-
question.
sorry.
Hi there.
Hello.
This is Retro
Griffin.
Winnipeg.
Yes.
So I have a question for Michael Creber. I know that you worked on the song Banana Phone with Raffi.
Yes.
So I remember back in my childhood, I listened to the works of children's artists like Fred Penner, Raffi, Sharon Ellis, and Bram,
Great
and their
people.
TV shows. So I just have a question about that. I know that in today's age, you know, there's certainly rediscovery with the internet in terms of like the songs of our childhood, and that I've noticed that, for instance, like an upload of like Skinamarink has like millions of views, and people have commented like how the children that have been watching it, you know, they share it with their children these days as well. So I'm wondering, in terms of that, and even though with the industry of TV shows has evolved to where there's a lot of more animation now, do you think that there could be an impact in terms of those who want to get into the industry, music industry, either in that field or just in general? Could that have an impact in terms of, you know, just in terms of what people may want to listen to these days?
Okay, so I'm not sure I understand the question. So let's clarify the question. You're talking about the effect of the internet on specifically children's entertainment?
I guess
or
nostalgia. There's a nostalgia. touch.
Okay, so stuff that's already been done that gets put up on the internet
This
in
happens.
a different form?
Okay, I think I know where he's coming from. Like, I've noticed as and I'm pushing 30 now. I'm feeling old. I've noticed that things like 80s style stuff comes back, or like what you said, like, you know, stuff that we grew up with is starting to make a resurgence. I think that happens every generation. Where, you know, for a while, I remember back in the 90s, there was this huge, you know, 60s thing, and you get stuff like, you know, Austin Powers and you know, movies like that. Were
Me and Dad have been quoting Austin Powers.
Yeah, I think that's a generational thing.
Groovy,
It's sure, and good material will keep coming back for sure. I mean, when the internet kind of started,
Beethoven.
I remember, you know, Raffi may not even know about this, but at the beginning, it seemed like a badge of honor for every you know, cartoonist and animator was to create a banana phone video, and there were dozens and we watched them, and there were a lot of them were kind of, you know, a little bit gross, but you know,
Some of them were
everybody was
dark.
doing a banana phone video, and it was kind of like they were cutting their teeth on this music that they liked or didn't like, you know, but at least they were doing something, and it was created a whole new art form, and this is, you know, it's just going on and on. So I think what it will happen that this kind of music, you know, that good tunes and stuff that we were raised with or you were raised with will come back in a different form, if that answers your question. And most of it will be positive, you know, most of it. Yeah.
All right, we've got to go really fast.
Okay, one more question.
Yes, because I have to go potty.
Go ahead.
Hello.
TMI.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
what I was gonna
I'm not.
say.
I don't
Thank
have
you.
I don't have a filter.
Okay,
All right.
Growth. Thank you.
So usually I'm a very confident person, but when it comes to singing on stage, I get really shaky and get really scared. So and I have a really strong voice when I'm alone, but when I'm on stage, I can't hit those notes at all, and I feel embarrassed. So I don't know how to deal with it.
Practice.
I recommend getting as much performance experience as possible to desensitize yourself to what's going on. And performance can be anything from public speaking to making a speech. You know, if you have a choice of how to present something on a project or something, present it in a way where you have to talk. It doesn't have to just be singing, and you can go volunteer to sing at a senior's home or a children's hospital. Just do as much of it as you can to get comfortable in your own skin when you're doing
It's
that.
actually what I do, honestly. I sing 3 Relay for Life almost every year. I stopped performing 3 years ago, so I'm going to get back into
Yeah.
it.
Well,
This
try
year,
to set
so I'm
yourself up
happy.
with as much as
Awesome.
possible.
Yeah.
A lot.
I kind of want to just quick say what I tell my speech and debate students, and I think it's been really effective for them, is that and this is the whole reason why I've been able, like, I jumped into doing panels or whatever, and then, you know, I remember BronyCon 2012 when we had 5,000 people in the audience. We had 5,000 people on the live stream, and people said, well, are you nervous? I said, no, because 99% of the time when you are on stage, your audience actually wants you to do well. Now, sometimes if it's a cabaret show, they want you to fail miserably because it's hilarious.
Yes.
But
then
most
you
of the
enjoy that.
time, the audience, and I think you know what I'm talking about here too, watching a badly performed play or something is just as painful for the audience members as it is for the. So it's more of an interaction. And so I look at it like, you know, it's not something that you should feel threatened by.
Go
you
in
know?
and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
even if you screw up one note, if they're having fun, they don't care. They just want to have a good
They're
time.
only going to remove 1 or 2 fingers, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, we got to
Okay.
get one
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
because
One
Amy's
more.
going to
Four of
strangle
mine.
me. So
Yeah.
So I'll keep it short. What do you want for lunch?
Food.
We'll
Thank
tell
you,
when we get
everybody.
we'll tell you when we get off the stage.
All right.
But didn't he have a question? He didn't ask it yet. Okay.
All right, real quick.
Okay.
We'll answer your extra ones after, okay?
Okay, so my question was already answered.
Then ask another one.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, where's a good place to start?
Taco Bell.
Oh dear.
Deciding what you want the outcome to be, and then getting advice on how to get from A to B. So decide where it is you ultimately want to be, and then get some advice on how do I get to that destination.
Google. And that's actually a serious answer.
Or work with a coach, like get some, consult with people that are doing it, or, that will help you figure that out.
And then depending on what you do, get some tools of the trade, microphone, if you want to do voice acting, get a account online so you can start getting your stuff out there. And
What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh.
So that is where to start then. And if you're really not sure, enroll in, get involved in all sorts of things and see what starts to stick.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right, everybody, we
problem.
ran
Thank you
over,
so
so we got to
much.
go. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you very, very much, guys.